Art because you were going and I missed that see, I was trying to get that little riff you were playing there, that little song. Actually, it's not really a riff, it was a song. I don't even know what you were doing. That was pretty
So
cool.
funny. I've been playing guitar for so long now that I don't remember really many other songs. I just play my own little riffs and licks and just kind of play for fun, you know? Yeah.
That is cool, man. That is cool. Guys, it is 5 o'clock on a Monday. My friend Stephen Babcock with CMG Financial and I, Chris Pesek Properties, Dripping Springs Home Team, and all that stuff. Man, I think you've probably got something to drink. I know I've got something to drink, and boy, did I get a lot of data last week. What do you think, man?
A
What
lot
are you
of data.
drinking?
Yes, you did.
What are you
Yes, you
drinking?
did. You first. Well, first of all, I don't know if I've frozen or you have. Okay, good. So what are you drinking?
It is a cold whiskey day, and I'm, real good A&M glass there.
Gig and
So
Maggie's. All right, let's see. Mine says nothing about the company. I was going to do like an intro here, but I'm doing the classy Keystone Lights.
Keith Stone Smooth. That's even
Again, Coors. It's Coors Brewing. Might not be directly from the Rockies, but it's still a good company.
yeah, of course. It's it is not in, well, it probably is in Bev at this point. I don't even know. So here's what I was trying to do. I was trying to go back to my Twitter account to so I don't forget all of that stuff that I was talking about on Friday. Guys, if y'all don't follow me on Twitter, I don't do a whole lot on there. I mean, I do like follow some A&M stuff, but when I go to an event, that's where I post it all.
I got to be honest. You were texting me some of the posts from like screenshots.
Oh yeah, that it would be easier just to go back into those screenshots.
At that very moment, it might have been the first time I've ever felt like, wow, I really wish I was on Twitter. That was probably the very first time I think I felt that like ever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's here's the thing, and I've told you this before. I use Twitter for news. It's like when you follow the right people, you can get some real good stuff. Like, slowing U.S. economy. I think I sent this to you today. Google's going to cut 6% of their job force or their workforce. Their largest ever round of layoffs. 6% of 12,000 people. That's what, 7,200 people? No,
well, they've had this.
that's not right.
They've had this.
720.
Imagine this though, from a business standpoint, they've had a growth at all costs attitude, and at all costs includes a lot, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, but that's the same, and I'm seeing this a lot. There was another one today that announced some layoffs. Oh, that's what it was. It was the tech cities that are at the head of the migration. So the tech cities that are seeing the largest number of people moving, and this is coming from LinkedIn. So they're looking at people's profiles, where they are and where they change through or change to. And in the tech segment, Austin is by far leading the country in the net migrations in tech corridor.
Yeah, but
like
isn't it
coming to
also
Austin.
right as of now leading the country in layoffs?
The tech sector or Austin? Tech sector, yeah, and that's the thing, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Like the tech sector is laying off a lot of people, but what I'm seeing more and more, and I'm looking at this with like the housing market and what's going on in housing and building starts and all this other stuff. And this is where I was going with it, and it was driven home to me on Friday again, is that Austin is not the rest of the country. It is very far away different than the rest of the country. And we're still going to have growing pains. We're still going to have issues. But man, I mean, yeah, you think about, let me see, who are the other top tech moving to inbound people? San Francisco, Seattle, Tampa, Nashville. And Nashville's weird. Nashville isn't even a tech hub. Jacksonville, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, Denver, and Orlando.
I'll tell you, if you have moved here, right, you've found yourself in the middle of a lot of action. But what you've also found is that you've moved to the capital of Texas, right? And there, Chris, you're from Texas, right?
Yeah.
So when you're not from Texas, like I am, right? Because I grew up in Michigan until I was 18, went to college. My parents moved away when I was in college to retire together. And I didn't have a home to go back to. So I just went, I just did my thing. But if you ever want to get your kid out of your house, that's the way to do it. Move away from the friends.
Just leave.
They don't have any friends to really return to. It's an empty house with no friends around. You're like, you know what? I might as well start my life, right? Let's try that. But, if you, at that point, it was like start my life, right? So you know what? There's this attitude out there, which is like, if the whole world goes to hell, at least they'll still be Texans because they won't put up with it, right? It's like this, it has this persona as like the last bastion of the United States to fall kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Not that we're falling, but at the end of the day, it's just one of those perceptions of Texans being tougher than the rest, right?
Yeah.
To a degree where my dad used to tell stories about a Texan that he ran into at a General Motors meeting one time. And my dad asked him, he says, "Is it true you can shoot people if they're on your property down there?" And my dad breaks into this Texan accent and says, "Yeah, well, they changed that law. And now they got to be in my house, but they'll, by the time the cops get there, they'll be in my home." The guy says that joke, and my dad's been telling that story for years, right? It's his Texas story, right?
Yeah.
I'm not joking. It's seen as like some stronghold you just can't get into.
It is.
So, all right. So now you've chosen, person that moved here to Austin, to move to the capital of that, right? Within the United States. Like I don't think there's any better place to truly be, especially in times of tough times, right? So I don't know. Right now, Austin's really hurting a lot, but I don't know. I feel like most of it's emotional responses. And well, not most, actually, probably. Well, I don't know, because here's the thing. Up until last week, I would have said that it was just they couldn't afford it. But then last week, you give me all these stats, which is what I'm setting up here. And so now, is it emotions? What is it? According to you and the people you saw, we've got a huge housing shortage, like huge.
And it's not necessarily that it's on us at this very second, because we still have builder inventory that we've got to get through. But I'll back up a little bit. So I got a chance to go to the Austin Business Journal, the 2023 economic forecast. Every year they have this in January, and Austin Business Journal puts together a panel of analysts from Austin and Texas that focus on Texas in this area.
Did you just say panelist of analysts?
Panelists of analysts, yes. I had to say that very carefully.
Keep going. So that was really
fun. Well, there were two analysts, and one was a demographer for City of Austin. The thing that and the analyst that I pay the most attention to was not on the board. I just happened to be sitting next to him at the table. And so as the panel is discussing all this stuff, myself and Mark are talking, and I'm like it's almost like having like Mystery Science Theater 3000, right? So you're watching the movie and then you're getting the commentary on the side, except it's serious. Well, most of it was serious anyway. And so it's just this, it was in a nutshell, basically he said everything that they were saying on the panel, 100% true. And actually he told me beforehand, he's like, "Yeah, I was talking to so-and-so and we'll see if he uses my stats." And he did. Like he referenced Mark's stats in what he was talking about. But anyway, the idea is, okay, interest rates, you're going to talk about them. They were going up. They might be coming down. The Fed says another quarter point this year, but that's really, and I'll let you talk about that because you sent out that market update on Friday. By the way, guys, if y'all want a weekly market update on the mortgage market and stuff like that, Stephen, put your email in here in case people want to shoot you their email. And it's about a minute or two long, guys. And what Steve does is he goes through data, he does some research, and he gives you like a 2-minute synopsis of what happened that week. And it's pretty damn informative. And I'll let him chat about that after a while. But so regardless of what's happening with interest rates, and by the way, right now, from where we were in January of last year to where we are now, people buying houses have lost somewhere between 40 and 50% of their buying power just because of increased interest rates. That's kind of that number. You're looking at 4+% from where we were, and it's about 11% per interest rate increase that you're going to lose in buying power. So people are in a situation, and that was one of the things that the demographer was trying to drive home. People are in a situation where very few people can actually afford to live in Austin.
By the way, I'm going to stop you for a second. You just said 40% of their buying power. So
Mhm.
let's just reverse it and say, hey, we can afford another 10% of buying power. And you were buying a $400,000 home. That's $40,000.
$40,000.
So just I mean, it's hard to say what 40% is across the board, because everybody has a different purchase price. But
Right.
just to put that into perspective, right?
Well, and put it in perspective, if you last year in January, if you were shopping for a $400,000 home, at this point, you're looking for something around $250,000. That's what 40% looks like, 240, 250.
Yeah.
I mean, that's freaking
Rough.
big.
Rough times, yeah.
So, people can't. Whoa.
By the way, I want to also mention that it's also
You put
for
that
the
in the
family.
wrong chat, brother. You put that on the private chat, but that's okay. I got you.
I went to comments and I couldn't do it.
Okay, there we go.
I can't comment.
Really?
Sorry.
Interesting. All right, I just dropped it in. We're good.
Yeah, but I want people to keep in mind that that's the same payment. Your
That's
purchasing
right.
power dropped, but it doesn't mean that the amount of money. Let me rephrase. If you can afford a $4,000 payment, and the economy goes to hell, but you're still at the same job and you're still getting the same income and you still have the same debts, you can still afford a $4,000 payment. It's just that $4,000 doesn't get you as much
Doesn't buy you
house
as much.
anymore.
That's right.
Right, but you're still at $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're buying a $240,000 home instead of a $400,000 home for the exact same price.
Right. That price is not $4,000. He's not telling you that's what your payment would be on a $400,000
No,
home.
I'm just throwing that number out there. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you start looking at that number, and even if you can afford that number, a lot of people are saying no, especially if they already own a home. They're saying no, I'm going to stay where I am. We'll
That's
make
right.
it work. I'll put a shed in the backyard. If any more
Okay.
space, that kind of.
And so that's exactly what they were talking about. So first of all, very few people can afford to live in the city of Austin. Okay. Median price for inside city limits at this point, I think, is 700 or 650, something like that. Like, it's way the hell up there. And if what is it? What kind of mortgage payment at this point is a $700,000 house? That's got to be $4,000, $4,500. More than that. Well, I mean, you can run it and see, but that's the thing. So nobody can afford to live in the city of Austin.
700,000.
700,000. Just, and I don't know if that's what the number is right now, guys, for median, but we'll say it is.
Well, the principal and interest, not including taxes and insurance, is 40,000 or 4,200.
Jeez. So at that point, then insurance is another 21,000 a year on. Well, it would be less than that. So another
well, no,
1,500 a month.
Say you move in and you're paying taxes on a $700,000 home, according to the city. That's.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is the first year it wouldn't necessarily be there. It'll probably be close though. But yeah, so yeah, think about another $1,500 on top of that. So now all of a sudden you're at $5,700, and then you got a $2,000, so another $200. I don't even know what those numbers are at this point. You're $6,000 basically.
You're looking
at PITI.
Let's see. So plus 42.
By the way, guys, PITI is principal, interest, taxes, and
insurance.
Insurance. Thank you. I forgot.
So let's say what, $1,000 a year for insurance. Let's say $2,000 a year. I'll say $2,400 to make it easier.
Yeah, $200 a month. Yeah, for that type of house, that's
$59.94. Let's call it $6,000 a month. $59.94 was the payment. That's $6,000 a month. $700,000 house. They keep raising these interest rates any higher, it's going to be an even, $700,000 house, $7,000 a month, right? That'll be easy, actually. You know what? That would just be.
It'll be an easy quote. So again, my point is not many people are going to be able to afford that.
No, or ones that can look at it and they're like,
yeah, why would I do that? I'll drive. So one of the other crazy stats on this that I got out of this, and this is a little nugget. Because of the cost of apartments in Austin, there are apartment dwellers who have chosen to live on the north side of San Francisco God, San Antonio, sorry, living on the north side of San Antonio to commute to Austin for their jobs because the commute, I mean, the cost of apartments there is 40% less than Austin. People are commuting from San Antonio. Now, think about this for a second. If that's what's going to continue to happen, what's going to happen with roads and congestion and all that? Think about, I mean, their jobs are in Austin. They can't live in Austin. So it all gets put onto the roads and stuff. I mean, man, 40% lower San Antonio apartment rates.
It's unreal.
So again, all of this is coming together. Now, if you can't live in Austin, you're going to be going to the outlying areas where, by the way, that's where all the new construction, new home construction is, because there's not really all that much going on in Austin outside of high rises and stuff. So you just mentioned a while ago, somebody's like, why would I take on this bigger payment and go buy another house? I'm just going to stay where I am. So this is where it all starts coming together. And you and I have been talking about this on the show. People, if you've watched the show, you know what I'm saying. One, and we talked about it last week, the want to sellers are gone. So the resale home market is only going to exist of people that have to sell.
Need to sell. Yes.
Need. Yeah. People that there's people that have died, graduation, getting married, new baby, whatever they need, new job they're moving from. That part of the sales market is what's going to be there for resales. Okay. Everything else is gone at this point. So the only other thing that makes up home sales is new home construction. Okay. Right now, we've got a lot of unfinished inventory.
Right, they're not doing new construction right now.
And that's what I was going to say. We've got a lot of unfinished inventory. Okay. And by unfinished inventory, guys, again, what I'm saying is they have stopped work on, I mean, there are entire neighborhoods that if there's not a contract on a house, they are not working on it. And so when they get a contract, they'll start work on it and they'll finish it, but that you're 60 to 90 days out at that point. Okay. And sometimes more, but usually they're dried in. So you're going to be 60 to 90 days out. Okay. So that's your new home construction inventory. All right. But how many new houses are they building? How many new permits are they pulling?
Zero. I mean, it's not zero, but it's pretty close.
So here, this is not an official stat. This is being vetted still. But we will say that the number of starts in 2023 is being projected to be 50% or more less than 2022.
Sure. And you know what? There was another stat that I read the other day, a couple of them. One was that the available buyer pool has shrunk by 40%. Then we also saw that there is a 68% cancellation rate within Lennar Homes, I believe it was.
Yep.
And I've been saying, yeah, that 40% number is harsh, but it doesn't tell you the truth, because what about the people that show up and they're like, I'm not paying that. That's way too much. Even though I can't afford it, I'm not going to pay it.
I'm not doing it.
Well, I think it's 68% is the total number. I think that represents the real state of our market.
Right.
I think
but again, that's the reason that the builders have stopped building and that they're not getting permitting. The only thing that's being built is what's already permitted. And I talked to a builder the other day that they'll get things permitted. And then because a builder, if you don't have it complete or started in 3 months or 9 months or some number, I don't remember what it was, the county will charge you a penalty to keep that permit open. The builder's like, fine, we're going to permit everything. We're just going to pay the penalty whenever it comes due, because it's cheaper. They think that the permitting costs are going to end up going up because so many fewer houses are being permitted now. They think the counties are going to start raising the rates. So they're like, fine, we'll pay the penalty, whatever it is per house, $50 or $100 every 6 months. They don't care. But again, the new houses aren't being built. They're not going to be there. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, the people who need to move to Austin. Okay. Austin is growing. The last number, and I had no idea it was this high. And this came out of the panelists on Friday, a net migration of 184 people per day moving to the Austin area.
Wasn't it way higher than that a few years ago, though? Like 300 people a day or something like that?
No, that was the gross.
What's the difference between net and gross?
So gross is, let's say you've got 300 people moving to Austin, but you've got 200 people moving away. Your net is 100.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, but
So you
right
were 300
now,
a day, but people were leaving. Okay, thank you.
the net migration right now, in other words, Austin is getting bigger by 184 people a day. Where are they going to live? Because I'm not selling my house unless I absolutely have to. You're not selling your house unless you have to. All the builders have said they're not going to build any more houses unless they get contracts on them. Where the hell are they going to go? Thus, everybody on that panel is terrified of a giant housing shortage in Austin, in Austin area, Austin MSA, Central Texas. Okay. So what does that mean? If you have a shortage, what's going to happen to the prices?
Well, they're obviously going to go up.
Yeah,
but
supply and demand.
But there's not much demand right now.
Not yet, because there's still builder inventory. There is still
Okay.
some inventory on the ground.
Okay. But we're talking about almost a 70% reduction in buyers because of the price. A 40% reduction in buyers forced. Even if you need to, 40% is out the window. So maybe the 68, 70, whatever, it gets better, and now we're at 50% reduction. But that's still devastating. I mean,
It is.
18,000 realtors in Austin?
Oh, don't even talk about the realtor market. Realtors have already started getting out of the business, which is great. Fine.
Just to make things par on last year, we need 9,000 instead of 18,000. Is that a joke?
No. And a lot of them are going to leave because they thought it was a get-rich-quick scheme and jumped into the business 2 years ago.
Oh, man, yeah, but what does that do to the rest of the market? I mean, anyways. And then the other thing I see is, all this talk about recession and all that, and everybody who bought a boat and an RV. Well, okay, well, if you're really looking forward, maybe there's going to be a lot of cheap RVs out there and a lot of people that need housing. We should be building like an RV lot someplace out on the outskirts of town, right? Wouldn't that be smart?
Interesting that you say that. I don't know. There's only one RV park in Dripping Springs that I know of that's got occupancy. Did you know? Here's a little tidbit for you.
They're already going to San Antonio.
Yeah. Here's a little tidbit for you. You ready for this? Did you know that if you are a resident of an RV park, you do not have school boundary requirements? You can put your kids in whatever school you want. There's some Texas law, and I don't know the exact law and stuff. There's RV parks in Johnson City, and because it's some type of residence that it's considered, the state of Texas considered that's like, it's almost like you're a resident because you have to be, like, you're not choosing to live there, you have to be there. And so the state of Texas says you can put your kids in whatever school you want. Just throwing that out there for people. Pretty cool.
That's crazy cool.
Okay. Trent's another great lender here in Austin that I know. Good fighting Texas Aggie too.
I know of Trent. I've heard good things about you, sir. So
okay, to give a positive spin, $700,000 home, referring mainly to new construction home a year ago, was selling for $575 to $600. Helps a little bit offset the payment. That's right. Maybe short term, of course, just because of the builders unloading specs. That's right.
That's definitely right. Yeah.
That's right. And so that is I was looking for this a while ago. I'm sorry. Here. Okay. I pulled a bunch of data a while ago, and I'm just going to give you Travis County and Hayes County. Now, this isn't perfect data, but I'm just going to give you the trends. Sales price per list price. You ready?
Yeah.
Last quarter versus this quarter, Hayes County is down about 44%.
I'm sorry. What? Can you say that again, please?
About 44%.
Okay. Stop, please. Did you just say that Hayes County? That's Hayes County.
Yes, quarter over quarter. Pricing trend is down about 44%.
Are you telling me that my home in Hayes County is worth 44% less than it was just 3 months ago?
No, I'm telling you the pricing trend has changed. This is why I said it's not perfect data, because if you had larger houses that sold last month than this month, or last quarter than this quarter, it's going to trend down just because of the difference in houses. I'm just giving you averages. This is the fallacy of the mean. I'm just trying to explain that is trending down. Travis County is trending down at about 39%. Okay. So it seems like a giant, large number. It is. And as we do these every Monday, I just got this pricing model thing that I was working on.
I still don't
Just got
understand
it
what the number
finished.
is. 39% less than what?
If you look at the average, and this is a rolling quarter. So when I pulled today, I looked at the average sales price of houses 3 to 6 months ago.
So the average sales price has dropped 30 or 40%?
This quarter versus last rolling quarter. But again, hang on. Not accurate data because the average square footing or average square foot is different. Like all of that's different. It's not a
You mean our entire market has a different average square foot because of a 3-month delay? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes. So, for example, in Hayes County, no. Just the number, just the houses being sold. Come on, you know what I'm saying. The houses that were sold.
Yeah, but
It's random. It's happenstance. Like
okay,
the
how
way the
about
size-
this? What was
There's
the
about
difference
150 square foot difference between.
How about a year ago, the difference between quarter 4 and quarter 1? How about that difference?
I didn't pull those.
Okay, I think it's
But
not
here,
going to be 40%.
this is where I'm going with it. Okay, Hayes County as a whole is down from last quarter to, 2 quarters ago to last quarter, is down
6 months.
about $24 per square foot. Okay,
Okay,
and that's about 10%. That's a little less than 10%.
that's what I wanted. Okay,
Is that a better number? Okay.
Well, yeah.
And then Travis County is down about $25, which is about 8% roughly. So just a pricing per square foot. Again, not a real number, you can't hang your hat on it because you've got with pricing, you've got discounts for large size houses. So the bigger the house, the smaller the price per square, and all of that other stuff. This is just anecdotal stuff. 8 to 10% over the last 2 quarters difference. That's all.
The guys I'm watching are giving me very scary news. It's so scary, I almost don't want to go here. But there is a
Wait a minute. Time out before you say this. Are the guys you're watching talking about the U.S. and global economy?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to preface it with.
And more specifically, right now, the FDIC.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this rule with the FDIC that states that something happens to your deposits, the FDIC will insure your deposit up to $250,000. Okay, well, 2008 happened, and a lot of changes happened in the financial system as a result of that. And most, if not almost all people, are very much unaware of a lot of the changes. One that's going around the news right now, but I read about it like 3 years ago, but I'm like, you can't be serious. It's one of those they put into place and said, we'll never use it. Right. And so here we are today, and you've heard of a bailout. We've all heard of a bailout, right? A bank bailout that happened in 2008. Oh, thank you. I'll be right there. Dinner's ready. But there's also a bank bail-in, which is where the FDIC then removes depositors' funds to fund failing banks that are too big to fail. And apparently there was a leaked microphone at a Fed meeting, and they were talking about how we don't need to alert the public to that option because when it happens, we need to have money in the account still to take.
Well, I mean, there you go.
What are you going to do?
And so basically,
5-year-old, 6-year-old. Hi.
Basically, at that point, what you're saying is that because Texas is still going to continue to do better than
this is the place to be.
90% of the other, well, it may not be, because if we're doing so much better, whose money are they going to take?
Yeah, something tells me the governor here might have something to say about that.
Might have something to say about it.
Let me put it this way. If you were ever going to keep your funds, there would be no other state to stay in, I think, that would be more of a greater chance of keeping your funds.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of go back to what I was saying with those price reductions, because what got me off on that tangent was Trent's commentary about, okay, if a builder was at 700,000, now they're 575, 600, and that's exactly what I was saying. So even though we're seeing these giant price reductions, and this would be another thing for me to look at, and I didn't. I'm going to try to get this for next week. I'm going to go in and look what the percentage of sales is, new home versus resale, because I've got a sneaking suspicion that a large amount of the reduction is new home
New home.
Because, and again, exactly what Trent's saying, because they've got inventory on the books. Builders are notorious for overreacting.
Right.
And when times are good, they build way too many damn houses like they did right now. And then when times are bad, they're going to shut everything down and they're not going to do anything for 9 months. And then when the market is roaring again, they're going to be like, oh shit, we got to build more houses. Sorry.
If you were a smart builder right now, you'd start builds, but you'd do
100% right now.
You'd find some place to throw down duplexes. You get the savvy investor or the person that can't afford a home on their own. So for what most people don't understand here, you buy an investment property, you're just going to be an investor. You typically need 20%, sometimes 25% or more down to buy the property. But if you move into a duplex, you need the minimum down, which can be 3.5%.
And you can run out the other side.
But then we get to use Unit B sometimes, depending on the situation. But you get to use
As
Unit
income.
B if you live in the Unit A, right? You can use 75% of what Unit B is paying to offset your payments, so you can buy a heck of a lot more house.
That's right.
If you're going to have a big mortgage payment, but you're going to take a payment from Unit B, that's going to offset that payment. And all of a sudden now you can afford what you used to be able to afford last year. And then moving forward, hey, maybe the market gets better. You refinance, you've got an investment with 2 rental streams coming in, right? And maybe it doesn't, you sell it, but either way, it looks like we're going to need more housing around here. And it looks like renters are the way to be. So I don't know, if I were a builder, I'd go duplex all day long right now.
And so interesting thing, this would be a great time to point out this stat. In the Austin MSA, I had no idea this was the case. 60% of homes are investment properties. They're owned as rentals. I use an investment. Yes, they're owned as rental properties. Yes.
Think about I thought about that stat a lot. Think about driving down the street and say like Round Rock, right? Like downtown, past the stadium. We were down past the baseball stadium, right? We're still going. And there's a gigantic complex of like 200 people that live in like a little, okay. And then there's another rental one over there. And then there's another one over there. And that's being counted in that 60% stat.
Fair. I would think it is doors. Okay, so that's a good point. I hadn't thought about it like that.
You're in the #1 tech city, right? So you've got all this extra money, and I feel like a lot of those people are like, "Oh, let's buy some investments," especially like on the east side. People are complaining about all the rich folks coming in buying up east properties, right? So it's I've been here for a while. I feel like a dinosaur right now, but yeah,
you are old. You are old.
Do that. You know what? I think my child is losing patience with this. Maybe it's time to. Maybe it's time to wrap up here.
Well, let's wrap it up on that note. Guys, this is what we do on Mondays. We talk about everything that we learn, pass that on to you. And generally it's data driven and fact driven. And sometimes it's my son is playing with my bald head driven.
Not totally bald. There's a little bit of hair still up there.
But regardless, this is what we do. If y'all have got questions in the meantime, I just put Steve's email address in there. If you want to get those Friday updates, you guys can reach out to us anytime. Y'all can reach out to us anytime, and we are more than happy to help you out with whatever you want. But we will see y'all next Monday. Peace.